Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.
Hello and welcome to ETMarkets CryptoConclave. I'm Maloni Bhatt. As Web3 attempts to take shape, it has sparked conversation on what it would be like. For many Web3 fans, it's an iteration of the internet when new social networks, search engines, and marketplaces have no company overlords. Theoretically, it could also mean a space where the creator is king, where there are no barriers to entry and one can avoid fees, rules, and strictures of tech companies. The irony is that major tech platforms are also jumping onto the idea. Now, to talk about the evolution of the possible social network on Web3, I have with me Sumit Ghosh, the CEO and founder of the short video platform Chingari. Recently, Chingari unveiled its crypto token Gari, and it has plans for an NFT marketplace. Sumit, welcome, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Maloni. Thanks for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Sumit, first question, how will an ecosystem of decentralized social applications or social networks on Web3 compare to those which exist right now on Web2 where we participate?
Sure. So typically when as a content creator on Web2, you don't own anything. You upload your videos, your images, your locations, your activities. And these companies, the Web2 companies like Facebook or Google or Twitter, they own it. Like they own you as a user, they own your data and they monetize it. They make the profit goes to their balance sheet. You as a user, you don't get anything. Web3 typically changes this paradigm. So what Chingari has done by launching Gari tokens, we have created a DAO. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization where you as a token holder will have governance and ownership rights. And these Gari tokens have governance and ownership rights on the DAO. So every time you create a content or like a video on Chingari app, you earn these tokens, or you whenever you engage with other creators' content on Chingari app, you earn these tokens. And through these tokens, you would now have ownership and governance on the Chingari app. Another major difference is all these videos that you are uploading on the app, we are also giving you ownership to this content via NFTs. So every video that you upload can be minted into an NFT on Solana. But just by doing this, you own your content for eternity, like for your entire life. No other social platform in Web2 is giving you ownership. So Web3 basically opens up ownership and governance for participants. And this is the new internet. Like this is how internet should be.
Okay, but supposing if I put out a video, the video goes viral, people would have already perhaps downloaded it, made copies of it. How does that change if I'm able to mint a token?
So it doesn't matter really, I mean, an NFT is basically a proof that you are the original owner of this viral video. I mean, there could be several hundred copies where people have downloaded it and forwarded it on WhatsApp. But the prestige and the exclusive, the value that I own this viral NFT and I'm the owner of it legally on chain. That is why people buy NFTs, and that is why NFTs have value. They get bought, sold, and traded for millions. So I think that is the reason why a viral video, if it goes viral, will be bought by the fan of the creator, just to just as a like a way of giving him thanks,
or bragging rights.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Okay, so this is on Solana. What happens on any other blockchain then?
All blockchains like Ethereum and then layer 2 chains like Polygon, even layer other L1s like Avalanche, Algorand, they support NFTs. And there are various projects building on different chains.
But my NFT, my NFT will only rest on the Solana. So on any other blockchain.
I mean, technically your NFT is minted on Solana, but it will be stored as a video on a decentralized storage like Filecoin or RV. It will not be stored on our backend server, our servers. So when you mint it gets stored on a decentralized storage platform, and the information, the metadata is stored on Solana blockchain.
All right, all right. Web3 is being said to be the future of the creator economy, and you say artists will benefit out of it. What are some of the challenges for platforms such as yours that exist in Web2?
I mean, what we are doing is kind of new and in a way revolutionary. We are the first Web2 company, I think, not just at our scale, not just India, but globally, which has adopted into Web3. So I'm sure as we progress in our journey, we'll find and face challenges, and we'll build technology to address that. But so far, I can't foresee we are a very young company. Our platform, the token is like 6 months old. We started it got listed in 20 plus exchanges 2 months back. So we are a very, very young company in that respect.
Okay. Web3 is centered around permissionless and open networks. How easy do you think it will be to regulate or to enforce gatekeeping on platforms? Say, for instance, policing hate speech, policing pornography, for instance, policing fake news from going viral. How will that be managed?
Sure. So you are absolutely correct. It's permissionless and decentralized. So in a way, permissionless also gives you the ability to build platforms where, permissionless is also trustless. You have to be a positive actor in the ecosystem so that the community starts trusting you. I think that is the biggest advantage here with decentralization and Web3. So anybody can post anything. Like, people can post any kind of content, fake or non-trivial content on the platforms. But for these content to get into your feed or to get upvoted or to get really, really discovered, you have to earn some reputation from the community. I think that and this is the algorithm that we are also working on in Chingari, where like creators, when they upload a video, we don't just send your video immediately into the feed, or if you mint an NFT, it does not get discovered immediately in the marketplace. The trusted, reputed participants will have always an edge on discoverability over new and fresh participants in the ecosystem, in the overall platform. So this way, and over time, I think this will also evolve. Like I said, we are very early. This is version 1. Over time, this algorithms will evolve on how we can have a safe experience for users, how we can build it a trusted, trustless system on top of reputation and your activity within the platform.
The attraction for many about all of this is the fact that it's decentralized. But from what you're talking, that there will be a certain amount of time that before which an NFT can go, there will be certain kind of monitoring. It essentially talks of centralization. So how does that work out there?
No, blockchains by design are decentralized, but you can use blockchains to, there can be a way where you can use blockchains to power your centralized platforms. Like in case of Chingari, the front end, is kind of centralized, which we control. We control the user experience, and the users don't need to know what's happening in the background. I mean, even in case of large Web2 companies, when let's say you are doing a Google search, you don't need to know, like, in the backend how Google is creating that top 10 results, right? I mean, the end user does not need to know. It's the same way here. The end user does not need to know whether this transaction is actually being written into a decentralized blockchain, because all he cares is an experience which is safe and good, and which matters for him. And by building a combination of a centralized controlled system on top of a blockchain, you can build controls. You can make sure that you can police bad content and remove bad actors.
I understand. So so it's going to be an amalgamation of centralization and decentralization together, which will power Chingari and other tokens
especially in case of
social media.
apps. Yeah, especially in case of consumer social and consumer apps. It will be an amalgamation of decentralized platform, which is easy to police, monitor, manage, control on top of blockchain, which
Okay.
is decentralized.
All right. So, earlier you mentioned that Google, Facebook, all of these companies, they own tremendous amount of data, as does Chingari, because you are a social media player. That and the scale gives these companies tremendous amount of power and ability to flatten competition and to maintain control. If companies like these participate in Web3, they're all planning to, what happens to the data that has been collected so far? For instance, will these other tech companies give up control of all the data?
So Chingari has already done that. Like, we have already moved to Web3. We have given the ability of creators to control their data by minting them into NFTs. I'm not sure if Google and Facebook. So just by integrating NFT or integrating Bitcoin as a tipping feature, you cannot call yourself a Web3 company. Web3 truly means giving power, giving governance, giving control of data back to your user base. So unless Facebook and Google truly disrupt themselves from their core and say, okay, now you are the users, you control and govern us, you own your data, you are not Web3. So just by saying, okay, now your images in Instagram can also be minted into an NFT, does not mean that you have become Web3. It's just an extension to what you are doing. At core, you are a Web2 company, but you are just adding a feature and TikTok has already tried this. They tried to mint some of their most popular videos into NFTs and they failed. Because the Web3 community is very, it's a forward-looking community, it's a close-knit community, and they call a spade a spade. So you have to disrupt yourself at your core, which I think is a very, very difficult decision. Giving away user data control, governance back to users is a generational technological shift.
Okay. But what about all the data that has been collected so far, Sumit? Yes, you've given up, for Chingari going forward.
Sure. For
What about?
Absolutely. So for Chingari, typically we don't collect a lot of data. I mean, we in the first 2 years of our journey, our monetization plan was around ads, but we were very early in the journey, so we didn't really started to monetize user data. So we were not collecting enough data. But now, after we have migrated to Web3, the company does not really want to monetize through ads. We want to in the future, our monetization will be around Web3 business models, so NFTs and things like that. We don't really are focused on any user data collection. If you look at globally, even Facebook is creating heat in Europe because of the data collection policy that Facebook has. Same with TikTok, it already got banned in India because of that. It faced heat in US. Now it is facing similar heat in the European Union. Because I feel like there will be a point in time where users will really start caring about their data privacy and all this. That stage where we were okay with sharing our data and letting these tech companies monetize it and not giving us anything in return will go away when users will see companies like Chingari giving you ownership for sharing your data or giving your data. So the time, maybe this decade, it will take a decade to get users into that mindset, but I think it's coming.
All
and
right.
regulators globally are getting very stringent about data policies. Like
Okay.
India is launching its own data privacy bill and protection bill.
But Sumita, I'm curious to know, you said TikTok tried to do, mint NFTs on popular videos and stuff like that. They failed. What makes you thought, what is it, that powers your hope of success?
Sure. Like I said, you just can't, extend a Web2 company and integrate NFT minting feature and say that, okay, yeah, now we are Web3. I mean, the Web3 community is not that stupid. I mean, they know when to call a spade a spade. So with Chingari, we already have 300,000 active wallets. Like, we are the second fastest growing project on Solana today with more than 300,000 active Gari wallets. So this is a community which believes in what we are building. I mean, this is a community which has bought Gari, which is trading Gari every day on various exchanges. So we already have a Web3 community around Chingari, that and 300,000 is not a small number. Like if you look at Ethereum, they're on an average, their daily active users are 500,000 users. But it's just that, you know, Chingari, majority of our users are from India. It's a low tier, low income country. So we probably, to reach Ethereum scale, will need like 5 million or 50 million users. But 300,000 in any crypto community is not a small number of daily active wallets. It's a really, really good number. And this number will keep growing. So we have this validation that, you know, users love the idea. They want to be involved with Chingari. And whenever we launch, you know, these NFT marketplaces, just like they adopted Gari tokens, they will buy and sell and trade these NFTs of videos.
What's the chance on NFTs that they'll be able to keep up the high liquidity and the valuation once the real bear market hits?
Yeah, that's a very good question that we all. So I mean, typically I feel most of the NFTs which don't have any utility are just like, you know, hype machines. I mean, just like any other crypto tokens or meme tokens, they're like hype machines. Till the hype lasts, the valuation will last. So if you look at the meme coins like Shiba or Doge, you know, which have no real utility. I mean, they are just out there because there is a huge community around these tokens which keep on hyping it. It's the same with NFTs. I think when the bear market hits and the hype dies down, some of these tokens and NFTs will really lose value. Those NFTs which have real world utilities, like we are building with you know, the Gari NFTs, the Chingari video NFTs, they will survive, or they will, people will like to bet on them.
Right.
So
You know,
the future, yeah, I think the future of NFTs is utility based NFTs. I mean, there are a lot. We are scratching the surface with NFTs right now, like very early again in the NFT journey. Like not just us, but globally, it's just a couple of year-old technology. So there will be multiple use cases built around NFTs as well.
You know, earlier we spoke about the fact that, you know, when you're buying an NFT, you're also possibly just buying bragging rights to something. Do you see that as a problem with NFTs? You know, from an investor perspective, there's an issue of security, there's theft. The idea of ownership is not very clear. You know, it's all very nebulous. You know, of course, and then there are environmental concerns. You know, that seem completely counter to everything that art and creativity stands.
Sure. Well, if you're minting on Solana, you are like basically burning less than what it takes to search on Google. Like you're burning energy which is lesser than what it takes to do a Google search. So Solana, like there are layer 1 blockchains which are very, very energy efficient. Of course, Ethereum and all, they have high gas fee, and you know, there are other problems with them. I mean, so I do agree that, you know, like you said, the current NFT craze is about hype and like bragging rights, exclusivity, and we have seen this throughout our generations. Like, you know, my wife wants to have a Gucci bag or you know, LV bag because she wants to brag in her with her colleagues. You know, look, okay, I have this brand new bag. So it's the same with just this trend. This Generation Z trend has gone digital now. Like people want to brag on their Twitter profile or Instagram profile that they own this NFT. It's just that, I think, you know, and it's here to stay, it's here to grow. And because like brands are getting into this, you know, a lot of big brands are now adopting NFTs, launching NFTs. So brands are getting into this. So it's here to stay. I would not say that it's just a hype and it will die down. It's like the early internet in 1990s. Everything like blockchain, Web3, this NFT phenomena. But yeah, it will.
So you definitely see it as a big opportunity, and you definitely see it as something that will take off in India.
Absolutely, I bet my company on this. You know, I have like completely transformed my company around NFTs and crypto Web3. So I am a strong believer about this. Very bullish on this.
Okay. Sumit, I want to draw your attention to something that ex-Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey said to someone on Twitter. He said that you don't own Web3. It's the venture capitalists who own that, own Web3. You know, they've argued that The crypto world is being purchased by traditional private market investors and thus making the entire business more centralized. We spoke on centralization and decentralization. Venture capitalists are investing very heavily in Web 3.0 because it's going to make them money. And that leads to a lot of centralization. Whoever will control the money will finally have control. What are your thoughts on
Yeah, I agree to Jag in some way. I mean, there are projects which have raised like tremendous amount of money from VCs. Typically, as a crypto project, your tokenomics should be very strong. You should have the tokenomics should have a very high percentage of community involvement and ability for the community to own the tokens or own majority of the tokens in the future. So there are a couple of projects where they allocate a very large chunk of tokens to the VCs, and the community is left with like whatever is left or leftovers. I think those projects have bad tokenomics, and you cannot really generalize every crypto project or every Web3 project like that. I mean, sure, we also have raised like VC money, but we have raised like very small. We have given less than 10%, 10-15% of our tokens to VCs. 85% still remains for the community. But there are projects where 50% is owned by VCs, and community has less than 10%. So I think he's talking about those projects in general, but you can't really generalize.
Okay. Web3 to me somehow seems like this promise, where it will enhance individual agency and it will set aside power stratas and hegemonies, perhaps. But don't you think that it confers or demands a lot more responsibility from an individual? And perhaps in a decentralized space, that really means all of us. How do you see that coming together? Don't you see challenges there?
Well, I mean, in Web3, since we are giving control back to the users, we expect the users to behave responsibly and be good actors in the ecosystem. So yeah, it's a dual-edged sword, if you ask me. Like, you are giving control and ownership, and if the user turns out to be a bad actor, you are giving control of your company to some bad actors. So again, like, I think there will be algorithms and ways which will be designed to build a trustless system in the future, where like trust can be earned based on your activities in the ecosystem, in the platform, and then you get, let's say, higher voting or bigger voting rights, stuff like that. So I think this is like I said, it's still evolving. The space is still evolving and building.
But when you have higher voting rights, again, you're creating hegemonies unless it's equal
because you have
for
earned
everyone.
that. Because you have earned that by being a good actor. So obviously you should have some advantage over somebody who has just joined and he has done nothing, no good for the ecosystem or the platform or the community. So if you have been in the community for, let's say, 5 years, you have supported the community, you have done good, you have played a good actor role, you obviously should have some better advantage over somebody who has just joined.
All right, Sumit, thank you so very much for your time. A very, very interesting conversation. And, for my end, this is all I have to say, that the problems that plague us in the real world in, Web 2.0, some of those will also inhabit Web 3. And hopefully they will be able to not, give in to mistakes, yes, and they don't create the power asymmetries as they exist right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
So all the best, and thank you so very much for your time. Sumit, thanks very much for that very interesting conversation and for your thoughts. The problems that plague the real world, Web 2.0, also inhabit Web 3, and hopefully we'll be able to create a more equal world, one than the one that exists right now. Hopefully we won't have the crippling power asymmetries that we witness now. Sumit Ghosh, thanks very much for your time today.
Sure. Thanks, Meloni, for having me here. Thank you.
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.